Malaysian government and the PPP government doing to all of us in this country with ExxonMobil. Raphael Trotman said he was instructed and directed to sign that 2% contract, in which he also gave away 600 oil blocks instead of 60 to ExxonMobil in breach of the laws of Guyana. The new PPP government came in, and when the issue of the 600 oil blocks along with the 2% royalty was raised, they behave like when you throw water upon ducks back. The contract, fellow Guyanese, have a clause that speaks of renegotiation if both parties agree. But all the 65 MP we have sitting in Parliament is silent. Guyanese, are you silent too? We have our brothers and sisters walking in Chinese shop, begging for dog food, asking the people to please put a fork in the black plastic bag. Man, what is going on in this country? Can you guys say something? I am told some of these talk show hosts we have around the place have their audience cussing and fighting each other rather than fighting for each other. What a Guyana. What a Guyana that I find myself in love with. All in the interest and development of Guyana. What you say? This is a message from Lall, Kaieteur Radio. God bless you all. Believe it.
Kaieteur Radio.
Covering Guyana from coast to coast.
Demerara and Essequibo 99.1 FM.
Berbice 99.5 FM. Kaieteur Radio.
This is Kaieteur Radio 99.1 and 99.5 FM. Namaste to you and a happy new year. Welcome to this, the first of its kind for 2022. Definitely won't be the last. It is time for the Lall Show where we tell it as it is. We've been away for a while and we hope that you will connect with us on our different platforms this evening. You know the drill. Mr. Lall makes his presentation, after which we'll take your call. To hand you over to him. We have lots to share with you tonight with limited time. So without further ado, we'll hand you over. Sir, happy new year to you and the floor is yours.
2022.
Yes.
3rd of January.
Yes.
A good year?
It should be.
Namaste, Guyana.
Namaste.
Ghana has been advising Guyana in the oil sector. Our vice president been to Ghana and the president of Ghana came to Guyana. Very sweet, eh? Ghana, Guyana, it rhymes well. And I think Guyana chose Ghana because they had and still have good and terrible experiences. Our vice president and our president, including the opposition, is in high praise, taking guidance from Ghana. Ghana passed a law in which anyone who misuse or abuse $1 single of the people's oil money, they can go to jail for no less than 15 years. Guyana passed the same law in secret, but with no jail time if they abuse, misuse, or thief out all your oil money. When the PPP give away those oil blocks, we thought the PNC would have come in and investigate and bring back some sense of decency. Instead, they went in and add more danger to the nation with Exxon and that oil contract. Guyanese of all races were hit very hard with both ends of the stick. Yes, both PPP and the coalition. The coalition, some of us can safely say, they tried to steal the whole country. But it is quite clear that this new PPP that took over is not only selling out the country and its people, but generations to come with it. It's 2022, Miss Harris, and it's the third day of January 2022, my fellow listeners. It is customary, since I was a little kid growing up, to wish people Happy New Year. But when, or if you can understand things the way I do, with what is going on in this country, then you will realize how difficult it is to say Happy New Year to anyone when it is crystal clear that nothing is there to smile about and make anyone happy in a new year. I wish and I pray in 2022 that this present crop of leaders really understand the dangers of this road they already have us going down on. Joshua and Miss Harris, Bernard and Raj, it's one thing to always look out for yourself and family, but it's another thing when you're dealing with the people of a country, present and future generations. We have seen where almost all the African oil producing nations are presently in terms of living standards and what is in store for their future generations. Some of them have been pumping oil over 100 years now, and look at the poverty level and conditions they are living under presently. Uncle and auntie, those conditions were created by their corrupt, selfish and greedy leaders, because those politicians did corrupt deals with oil companies and thief out the people oil money so they can live large. My brothers and sisters, it is difficult for me to say Happy New Year. Guyana just discovered oil, and our leaders have already made corrupt deals and passing laws secretly to steal your oil money. This country, uncle and auntie, if drastic changes do not happen immediately, Guyana will become 1 million times worse than some of those African and Asian countries. Let me just share two quick things with you. None of the oil contracts in the world resembles ours. And all the countries set up natural resources fund, man, has proper rules, regulations, and most importantly, jail time if anybody misuse a single cent. Guyana has no oil contract that benefits any one of us. And the oil law that they rushed through Parliament Wednesday night in 20 minutes and was signed into law before cockcrow Thursday morning is not evil, uncle, but extremely evil. That was a well-planned and orchestrated move by none other than the PPP's top-notch. Yes. Are we as a nation, Josh and Bernard, going to sit back like lambs being led to the slaughterhouse? Or we will take the streets and demand that all these corrupt deals and laws change? Huh?
Demand change.
We have to demand change. Yes, we have to. I came out of my house and did a special Christmas Day program to enlighten you guys on this new law that the Ali administration was rushing to shove down with truth. I called for you guys to join me in a protest. Some of you guys come out, but I had expected half of Guyana to show up at the conference center. Aubrey Norton, the new PNC leader, joined the protest line, and the entire parliamentary opposition came out and joined in the protests from Parliament, chanting, "No thieving law must pass." It was a slogan I derived on the beginning of the protest. I wasn't feeling well at that protest. Had I felt the way I used to feel 1 month ago, that protest would have ended up into the night, and that bill, I am certain, would not have passed. I don't think anyone needs to take firewood to see in the night what they are seeing in broad daylight. Joshua? Very soon Guyana will hear and see what Dr. Irfan Ali and the Vice President Jagdeo would do with that oil money. You know, Ms. Harris, it gives me great pleasure on this beautiful 3rd day of January to play a tape for you to listen to by Dr. Muhammad Irfan Ali, the President of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana. It has been the practice of some of the leaders of this land to always attack the messenger for misleading and misquoting public officials. My newspaper has been accused many times on this, and myself. I have said many times that spoken words, especially when it is taped, don't lie. It tells the story. President Irfan Ali, the opposition leader Harman, Vice President Jagdeo seems to be afraid to hold press conferences these days. So what they do these days? They read from prepared statements. Messages, what they cannot defend in an open press conference, with reporters asking them hard questions. Yes. I would have played Uncle. I would have played President Ali many times. You heard Vice President Jagdeo many times when he said, if you ask me about insurance again, you wouldn't get a different answer. You have also heard yourself that he ain't changing the ExxonMobil deal, but is ready to change the rest. And nothing has been done so far. Maybe he's in a coma where changing contracts and deals is concerned. You have also heard the financial guru Ashley Singh talking about how insurance is the most vital toolkit in every household. Every individual must have, much as a country. Not only Guyana, but the entire region is endangered without full cover insurance from ExxonMobil. And we haven't heard a word from this financial guru. Our Vice President Jagdeo held a sit-down gaff with his sidekick, that clown critic, the day before Christmas. Cussed down and abused down everybody, including me. Yeah, you will hear him soon. Ashley Singh also jump up too and try to defend the new oil law after it was hitting the airwaves across the spectrum. It looked like them realize that them get catch. People seeing through their clothes what color underwear they have on with this new oil law they rush through. So guess what, guys? Our President Ali took to the airwaves and read a prepared statement that clearly he didn't write. None other than the Vice President had to give him that statement to read. Because when you looked at his presentation and how he find himself confused and mixed up reading it, you know it wasn't his words coming from him. The suave wasn't there, uncle. The flow wasn't there. The product he was selling, he didn't understand it. He was trying to sell sweet sugar with sour mango language. Yes. Yeah, man. He came out swinging to sell the new law they wanted to push down we throat last Wednesday. You have to listen to him for yourself. Guys, could you play the first clip for me?
Why is there a need for a new natural resource fund bill? Why is it necessary? Why was it necessary for us to do this? Let me start by saying this. This was a campaign promise. It was a campaign promise that we are going to have an amendment of this bill for a number of reasons. One, the old bill is unconstitutional and illegitimate. We seem to forget that this bill was passed by the Parliament in January 2019, after the no confidence motion had been approved. So the bill has no legitimacy. The bill has no legitimacy. It was passed in Parliament after the no confidence. So it's unconstitutional. That is the first thing. The second issue is that the act was passed without any input or involvement by the then parliamentary opposition, who were not present in the National Assembly when the act was passed. And we were not present because the National Assembly ceased to exist. The government ceased to exist because a no confidence motion was passed. The Natural Resource Fund Act also had a number of fatal flaws in its content, which we had to rectify before the act could have been made operational. Now, what are these fatal flaws that the act had inside? The governance structure. Let us start with the governance structure. It was severely deficient, with no governing body, such as a board of directors. The Santiago Principles require a governing body. So let's start from there. There was no governing body, as is required by the Santiago Principles. If you have a company, the company has a board of directors. That board of directors govern the operation. The absence of a board of directors in the old act is compounded by the excessive power, roles, and responsibilities that was vested in one individual, the Minister of Finance. So not only did they not have a board, they vested all the power that would have been in a board to one individual, the Minister of Finance. So we sought to remove that in a new act, and I'll get to that. Further, they prepared the investment mandate which will guide the investment of the fund. That is what the government, the governing body has to do. Help in the preparation of the mandate that would guide the investment of the fund. So, the old act did not allow for any of this. For a matter of fact, it was the sole authoritative authority of the Minister of Finance doing all of this, determining the fiscal sustainable amount, determining the economic sustainable amount. That was in his opinion. That was in his opinion the best possible framework or scenario for Guyana. So when we talk about the powers that existed in the old act, we have to speak about the powers that was vested in a singular individual, the Minister of Finance.
Guys, I don't think our president believe him own self. I don't believe this guy believe his own self. You know, he began by saying the old law that the coalition put in place was not legitimate because it was passed after no confidence motion and the PPP had no input. Then he went on to say the law had a set of flaws that they wanted to correct. He said that this same illegitimate law had no governing body which gives the minister all the power on the Isle account. Uncle and auntie, that is not true. The coalition government had 3 sets of committees to overlook the oil money in that law they passed. Uncle, when you really listen to these leaders, and if you don't know the facts, yes, they sell you sour guinea and tell you it's sweet Julie mango. Yes. Let's hear more of him. Jagdeo didn't push his mouth into this law. What he was doing was pushing these kids to embarrass themselves. Let's listen to more of President Ali. Play again.
So what we sought to do was to remove the extraordinary powers that was vested in the Minister of Finance by addressing these flaws. So the new bill drastically reduces the powers, functions, and responsibilities of the minister. It introduces a board of directors and grant the board almost all of the powers previously vested in the Minister of Finance. That board will include the private sector participation as well as participation by a nominee of the National Assembly. So the new act removed the powers from this sole individual, the Minister of Finance. And this was a core argument that we presented when we opposed the old bill. And that power responsibility is now vested in a board of directors, removed from the minister, now vested in a board of directors that is comprised of a multifaceted set of Guyanese that will bring different skill sets, including labor, private sector, and nominee from the parliament.
Finish? Yes. He said their law that they pass will reduce the power vested in the minister. And then he went on to say he will introduce a board of directors, uncle, which will be handpicked by him. Yes. So what that tells you He will have the power, he will have all the powers, that because he will be handpicking the people to run the board. Isn't the same thing the coalition had in place? Yes, it's the same thing. Just keep your eyes on them, Guyana. Keep your eyes on these people. They are bad for your health and your livelihood, and extremely dangerous for your future and future generations. Yes, those unborn kids I'm talking about. Dr. Irfan Ali said the board will have people from the private sector commission. I had to smile when I heard that. Yes, because you know what, Uncle? The same private sector commission was invited to sit down at the signing of the local content law. Not the oil law, you know. That one was signed secretly the day before, early in the morning before cockcrow. Yeah, the private sector people were sitting there with him. The nation only knew about the oil law till the following day through a statement put out by the government. And the private sector commission was in high praise for both laws. Them is the same people what he boasting about that will be on the oil account money. Yes, that is the board he's boasting about, that will be independent. Man, you gotta love this country, and you gotta love these corrupt clowns for leaders we have. The president said the board of directors is comprised of a multifaceted set of Guyanese that will bring different skills to the table. You heard that language? Guys, you heard that language? Multifaceted set of Guyanese that will bring different skills to the table. This man can read well. It's a set of friends he will nominate to dance to the merengue and laringue song they will be playing with your oil money. Listen carefully to this new cha-cha song. Yes, he wants Guyana to dance with him. Play the next clip, let the nation hear him.
Further, it simplifies and strengthens the transparency of the formula for making withdrawals from the fund. Every single Guyanese will be able to understand what the formula is. They'll be able to do their own calculation. So as things progress, you will know exactly how much should be saved, or how much would be saved, how much would be invested, and how the funds will be utilized. A very simple formula. It explicitly requires the Minister of Finance to publish to the Gazette information on all receipts and a fund within 3 months, and table this information in the National Assembly subsequently. So this whole thing about, we won't know where the revenue is going, unlike what took place under the previous government, remember the 18 million US signing bonus, the Minister of Finance now has to publish in the Gazette within 3 months all revenue, all receipts, all revenue, all receipts that comes into the fund. Every single cent of revenue that comes into the fund has to be published. But much more than this, he then has to table that in the National Assembly. So the entire Parliament, which includes all members of the opposition, the media, the government, would be there, because it has to now be tabled in the National Assembly. And if he does not do this, what will be the consequence? The consequence will be 3 to 10 years imprisonment. So not only are we setting out the principles, enhancing transparency, but we are willing to put the harshest of penalties because we do not intend to keep any information in relation to the management of the Natural Resource Fund away from the public. We intend to ensure that the public is kept abreast and part of the information set. That is why we're confident enough to put it in our manifesto and put it in the bill itself now. We are not running away. We are enhancing transparency by holding ourselves accountable, by holding the Minister of Finance accountable.
Uncle and auntie, if you really don't understand and know these people, and you listen to these words, you believe he just come out of masjid. He said this new law will be so simple and clear. It will strengthen the transparency of the way they're taking money out of the oil account. The man said the law will make it so simple that every Guyanese will understand what law is about. You can do your own calculation as things progress, how this thing gonna be so transparent. He said, Uncle and Auntie, Dr. Ali said, every Guyanese will know exactly how much we save, how it will be used, and how much will be invested. A very simple formula, Uncle. You hear that? Yes. How much will be invested? He didn't say, listen to me carefully, Uncle and Auntie, brothers and sisters. He didn't say if he will tell us what the money will be invested on or who this money will be invested with. You guys listen his language. How much will be invested? Those are his words. Lall didn't say that. Now, here the tricky part of Ali's game plan. He tell us how the Minister of Finance must gazette and take all the information, all receipts, all the bills, every transaction, every cent that go into the oil account must be reported to Parliament so that every MP can see what is going on. This president emphasized twice that the minister must report every cent that goes into the fund so that the government and all the MPs, including the media, can hear and know what is going into the oil account. And if he does not do this, Uncle, you hear him yourself, man. You hear the consequences. President Ali said a man will serve 3 to 10 years imprisonment. So we are not only setting the principles, he said, we are setting transparency, and we are willing to put the harshest of penalties because we do not intend to keep any information in relation to the management of the fund away from the public. He said they intend to ensure the public is kept abreast at all times. Our president said we are not running away. We are holding ourselves accountable. I wonder who wrote this speech for him. Because I want to tell every one of you something. That this is an international con artist who wrote this. It was well worded to deceive and rob this entire nation. Uncle, let me repeat this thing for you. That speech, those words that came out of President Ali's mouth just now, was designed, well orchestrated to deceive this entire nation. The president said 3 to 10 years jail for not telling us how much money going in. You hear me? Going in and coming out of the oil account. No jail if they F up the money. Not a single day in jail. Not even an hour if they F up your oil money, uncle. You hear me? The 3 to 10 year jail sentence this man talking about is if the minister doesn't report how much money go in the account and how much money come out the account. But no jail time for what they do with the money. You see the gangsterism going on in this country? Huh? Guys, do you understand what's playing out? Did you hear the president say anything? If the Lord direct the minister to divulge information on how, who, and where your oil money will be invested, you hear anything?
Nothing.
Not a word about that. And that is where they F up the oil money. That is how the money will disappear. Yeah, man. Did you hear the president say the new law directs the minister to tell the parliament or the nation on what they will utilize the oil money on? Yeah, man. Are you hearing anything? I didn't hear nothing about that too. And of course, that part is left out in them law. You hear that, Bernard? Mm-hmm. That part left out in them law. The most important part, how the oil money is to be utilized, spent, or invested is not in Ali law, or Jagdeo law, or Ashley Singh law. They rush through the parliament Wednesday night and sign before cocktail Thursday morning into law. Yes. Their law, uncle, is not holding anybody accountable for misuse, abuse, or if they F up the oil money. The jail time Ali boasts about there is only for not telling us how much money go in and how much come out the account. Conman and thieves, criminals and scamps love laws like that. You hear that? Yeah, man. Uncle and auntie, y'all really understand what is playing out in this country? Y'all see the games the president playing with y'all little oil money? Y'all see why I come here and can't say Happy New Year to no Guyanese? Huh? Because it's very difficult for me to say that, knowing all this crookish, nasty law they're passing and coming with trying to pass it as if we're the best thing since that had come into play. Yes. Uncle and auntie, that is like daddy come home and tell the family he banked 5 million in the house account in 2019. In 2020, he deposited another $5 million. And in 2021, yes, he deposited another 5 million in the account. He tell the family for the 3 years he deposit $15 million. Yes. And then the daddy wake up one morning and tell the family, well, I draw out the 15 million, okay? And he don't have to tell the family what he's going to do with it. He can spend it out, or he can hold it out, or the family, he can do whatever he wants to do with it, and he doesn't have to tell the family nothing. Yeah, man. Because he did abide by the rules and regulation. He tell them to bank the money inside, and he tell them when he draw out the money. He don't have to tell you what you do with it. Yes.
What are we doing, Koji?
You can't jail Ashley Singh for that. But you can jail him for not telling you what he put in and the amount he take out. That is all. What a guy. That is Ali Jabir. Nobody. I hope you guys will not sit silently and allow them to get away. I keep saying your feet and your mouth have the power to make your life and your livelihood happy. Only you can make it right.
That's true.
Continue sleeping. The politicians you have in this land will never. They will give you what now and good promise of own, like they always do. And of course, they lie from the bottom of the feet to the tip of their head. Yes, man. Opposition leader Harman had promised to hold a press conference with his Isle team. As soon as they left office, it never materialized. Yeah. He might leave office, and we might even get him. Three-quarters of Guyana will be, unless we as a people, as one nation, with one destiny, don't get them to make the necessary changes. Uncle and auntie, we in trouble. They have to get it right. And you and I have to help them to get it right. ExxonMobil and every foreign player in this land stretching out our resources without any contract whatsoever that protects us. Without any law to safeguard our belly and our children's belly. On top of all of this, uncle, the leaders of this country passing laws to thief we Isle money legally. The 2% Exxon contract, uncle, was signed by Raphael Trapman under the coalition, in which they give away 600 oil blocks when the law only requires 60. And what Guyana was told, you remember, guys? No laws were broken. President Ali not passing law to retrieve the 540 oil blocks from ExxonMobil so he can rake in some billions of US dollars. He passing laws. You know what, man? To steal for your Isle money legally. Kaieteur and Kanji was signed away. If you total that 2 oil blocks, it is as big as the Stabroek block where ExxonMobil get. And what Guyana was told again? Man, I didn't hear you, man. I can't hear you, man.
No laws were broken.
No laws were broken. President Ali and the other financial gurus of this land are not wise enough to enact laws that can correct those highway robberies of the people's assets and livelihoods. They are in a rush to pass laws to steal your little Isle money that will be coming in. You hear me? Man, you guys gotta listen to another piece of President Ali. Yes, come, go ahead, play next piece. You have it there? Raj, you gotta play another piece of thing. 1 second.
Now let me be very clear. If the budget is $300 billion, that budget has to be approved by Parliament. When that budget is approved by Parliament, the government has to implement that budget. That is the existing framework. The parliamentary opposition can question anything in that budget as part of the budget process. So similarly, any project to be financed from the fund will be part of parliamentary approval. Those projects will be approved by the Parliament. And every stakeholder, all the members of Parliament will have an opportunity to debate and ask questions again. So when you're talking about the use of funds, it does not move away from the existing framework as in the budget itself. Then, so it will be subject to parliamentary oversight, because the projects which will form part of the expenditure will be approved. Secondly, all these projects that will be financed will be subject to audits by the Auditor General. Just like every single project in the budget now is subject to Auditor General's audit. And then what happens with the Auditor General audit? The Auditor General audit then goes to the PSC. That is the existing framework. Every single project that is financed is audited, and then so another level. A standing parliamentary committee now, the PSC, the Public Accounts Committee. So you have post-approval debate, you have approval, you have audit, and then you have the PSC examining the Auditor General report. So that covers, again, added layer of accountability and transparency.
I don't think President Ali convinced his own parents with what he said there tonight. You know? Or his own child. No, President Ali, you got to do better than that as a leader. Don't put yourself to get tied up by those old heads you got around you. They're going to make you look bad, and you're going to walk this road and people going to skin their face on you. Don't do that. Don't do that to yourself. I don't think you're a human being like that. You talk about parliamentary coverage. You talk about the Auditor General have a say and their report. You talk about the Oversight Committee, the PAC. Oh, no, man. Don't do that. Don't do that to yourself, man. Don't do that to yourself. Don't do that to yourself. The Auditor General reports every year on every single thing. As a matter of fact, we are carrying a story tomorrow. What the Auditor General report. It's shameful. Every day, every single day the man reports on the nasty things you people going on with. And you got the nerve to come and tell people that the Auditor General can audit all these things? Come on, man. Don't do yourself that. Don't set yourself up like that. Guys, President went forward to say how every budget that passed in Parliament, the opposition can question and have a say. The same theory he trying to explain to Guyana, telling us that when he take the oil money, the opposition can question and have a say. The opposition can question and have a say. What a Guyana. It's the same way the opposition had the opportunity to question the new law. Mr. Ali, did they have a say last night? And Mr. Ali, No. Y'all didn't give the people no say. As a matter of fact, y'all signed it into law without the people having, without hearing the people wanted you guys to send the bill to a select committee. Uncle and auntie, I hope your eyes are being opened with these dirty, nasty and stinking game playing with y'all. These guys have been playing with y'all for the last 30 years in this country. Cherry Jagan and Burnham must be turning in their graves by now. You know, if the opposition had a say, that law could not have passed Wednesday night, Mr. Ali. If the media or the citizens of this country had a say, that law would have never passed, because everybody wanted to have a law in which they have a say on how their oil money would be spent, Mr. Ali. You understand that clearly? But none of us had any say or could have questioned anything. Your people did not even listen to the opposition. They just hurriedly clutched on to the fake mace in Parliament and passed that bill in less than 20 minutes. This is what Irfan Ali, our President of the Republic of Guyana, wants you to believe, that the opposition has a say in Parliament. Well, Guyana, the opposition, whether it was the coalition or the PPP in government, no opposition have a say in this land. This crap our president trying to tell us that the opposition can question and have a say in reality is total bull. Bull, B-U-L-L with the S, capital S. It's another dark blanket, worse than ExxonMobil blanket. They're hustling to cover it. Yes. In the previous law, Uncle and Auntie, the coalition put in place. Listen to this carefully. Put in place. It had specified clearly to three committees, the roles of three committees, the roles they would be playing, Uncle, managing our oil account. The members of the macroeconomic committee, what Mr. Ali talk about, simply put, is experts who have to guide the government on the investments, Uncle. The coalition said these people must have a master's degree, doctorate degrees, and at least 10 years experience in economic management and investment best practices. You hear that, Uncle? Mm-hmm. The coalition government committees, the people who they select to put there, had to have a doctor degree, had to have an economic degree, or they also had to have economic best management practice. So no fly-by-night or nincompoop you can pick to monitor oil money, how it's being spent or invested. The coalition also had clear rules as to how long these individuals will stay on these committees. And they also have reasons why they should be removed. Meaning, Uncle, if you catch them with a finger sticky, or if they have personal or family interests, they can be removed. The coalition put all that in place with the committees. Here what a new Ali law boast about. Saying, man, Mr. Harris, you gotta listen to this. You gotta listen to this one, man. The new Ali law that he boasts about, right? Say how he gonna decide whether the old law is better than the new law. Or the new, no. When you don't listen to this, boy, you decide whether the old law is better than the new law, or the new law is better than the old law. Here what Ali said. He gonna put a board of directors, yeah, who will play the role of the committee, advising on how to invest your oil money, and them don't have to have any experience in business or qualifications or even running a cake shop. You hear me? That is what he last said. You can pick anybody, any nincompoop. It means uncle and auntie, President Ali can pick his uncle, his nephew, his body, cousin, and make them a director. And the sweetest part of it all is that them can sit down on the board until them grandchildren dead. Yeah? Not until them dead, until them grandchildren dead. Because there is no time limit. President Ali, Ashley Singh, or Jack Dale put in this new law they passed the other day. You hear me? One of Granger Committee, the Public Oversight Committee, uncle and auntie, had 22 people on board. One from the media, one from UG, one from the Bar Association, GYEITI, one person from the region, from every region in Guyana, one from every religious organization, one accountant, one private sector commission, one from the Consumer Association, one from the youth representative, and a female to represent women's interests, and so on. Here what President Ali new law did. It reduced the 22 people to 9 people, of which 3 are representatives from the religious community, 2 from the private sector commission, 2 from labor, and 1 professional persons from maybe nowhere. The professional person from nowhere, because anybody can be a professional.
Yeah.
Yes. That's what President Ali Law got inside. And it is so funny with this committee. President Ali put a time limit of how long these persons can serve as committee members. You hear me? He put a time limit on these committee members. You hear me? But on the committee, which have to invest the money and spend the money, the man put no time limit on them people. They're not going to sit down for life. You hear me? I hope you guys following what is going on in this country, I hope you guys understand why they rushed through this thing in Parliament last Wednesday. And why finally signed it before cock crow on Thursday morning in secret. I hope you guys following. You guys heard him. How he pampersetting himself trying to sound like a righteous, loving and caring president. Oh my God. Throughout him reading that written speech, Joshua, when I looked at him, I can only say, God, bless this country and bless our president. He comes over like a four-striped mango with no root. Nothing, guys, nothing, uncle, comes out of these people's mouth you should take lightly or believe. Don't even take it with a pinch of salt. As for Vice President Jack Dale and Ashley Singh, you should turn off your radio and TV when you see them come on. And if you don't believe me, then you can turn off your radio from this station too when I come on. I'm not afraid to say that. What a way, Bernard, to frame the law in a country. You pass the law that says you go to jail if you fail to report what goes in the account and what comes out. But there's no jail time for the misuse, abuse, or thieving the damn oil money. Huh? These guys got to be the best this world produce, eh?
They think so.
Yeah, man. Yeah, you guys got to be the best. Then your president got enough to stand up and face this nation and say he dealing with transparency and putting the harshest of penalties on people who dealing with your oil money. You know, it reminds me of the IFMAS program, which was acquired by the Ministry of Finance under Ashney Singh, the minister, and President Jagdev at the time. That IFMAS program had 9 modules, 9 or 7 modules. They install all, including the one that records all the cash coming out the Ministry of Finance. You hear that? All the modules they're installed. But the one that taking out the money out of the Ministry of Finance, they didn't install that one. Yes. The one that recording the money as it go out, uncle. Yeah, man. This reminds you, doesn't this remind you of the oil account? Yes. Yeah, man. All the law, the oil account law, all over again. That's what that IFMAS program reminds us with this new law. You know, you have to report all the money going in the account and all the money coming out the account. But where the money going, you don't have to tell them that. Whose account or which country's money is being transferred in whose bank account, you don't have to tell them that. No. Yeah, man. That's what is happening in this land. And then Ashley Singh had the nerve to hold a press conference and insult the nation with his fancy tongue, trying to kerfuffle people's head with his froth. Uncle and auntie, after the passing of the oil law, the next day the government sent out a WhatsApp message at 1:48 p.m. to the press, inviting them to a press conference at 2:30 p.m. at the Arthur Chung Conference Center.
They're a helicopter.
You hear that? 1:48 p.m. for a 2:30 press conference. How on earth the press get in there? You can't even get a taxi in time. In time.
Especially Christmas season.
Yes. Much less to beat the traffic 2 days before All Years. But you gotta ask yourself, how the Chronicle, NCN, and the national radio station was already seated for the 2:30 p.m. press conference. What that tells you, uncle? You think they really want private press? And of course, the state media had to be, you know, they have to be told way in advance to be sitting there. To be sitting there with the government officials to begin their bluff and their fluff. Not true, man? They had to be told way up front.
Of course.
Yeah, man. Lo and behold, uncle, was Ashley Singh, not the president or the prime minister or the vice president, was Ashley Singh and 4 ministers held a press conference in which they cussed down the opposition for being unethical and unruly in parliament during the passage of that same new ILA. You hear that? They cussed down the people for being unethical and harsh. Ashley Singh went on at a rate in high spirits, man. Uncle, you have to hear him. I don't have time to play him as to what he said on the new law he piloted through Parliament and how important it is for the people of Guyana. He even repeated boldly, uncle, how people will go to jail if they don't report every cent going in and coming out the account. Same words what President Ali used. He used back the same words in his press conference. But listen to this, Bernard. When he was asked by an independent reporter why no jail time for the abuse or misuse of stealing the oil money, the man's whole spirit changed. You had to see face, how it twitch. It twitch around. And he tell the reporter, in this Grinchy language, you know, that Guyana got laws already to deal with anybody who steal. So why we don't have to, so why? So we don't have to repeat that in the oil law. You know, if I been there, Bernard, I swear to God, no Ashney Singh or any one of we leaders in this land can push things like that in my face without a proper reaction. Ashney Singh and all of you ice pass every citizen of this country to tell us we already got laws to deal with thieves. Uncle and auntie, you see how these people ice pass, are you? Every country in this world got laws to deal with thieves. But every country safeguard their oil account with specific laws and jail sentences for anybody who misuse or abuse $1 single dollar of the people's oil money. And you telling we got laws already to deal with thieves? You know, if I had it my way, Ashley Singh, or if I ever get it my way, I would jail some of you without trial. And that is from my heart. I will never forget, because it's unforgivable, Mr. Singh, what some of you have done to this country and the people of this country, and what you guys continuing to do to them. Ghana, uncle, the same country we're giving you advice not to fail in this sector. You hear me? Specifically pass a law, uncle, that says a person who misappropriate the oil law, the oil money, person who misappropriate or attempts to defraud or conspires with other person to defraud the republic in relation to their oil money, uses or attempts to use or conspires with other persons information on the fund or documents relating to the fund for personal benefit or advantage, or the personal advantage of other persons, commits an offense, is liable on summary conviction to a fine not less than 500,000 penalty units. That's their people money. Or to a term of imprisonment no less than 15 years or both, fine and jail. It even talk about aiding and abetting in the commission of an offense, uncle and auntie, the people law. They say aiding and abetting offense carries a 7-year jail sentence with $250,000 fine. We law didn't even pass. And if you check back on some of the things they did, they should have already been in jail. You hear me, guys? The wheel law that they passed, if you check back on some of the things they did, some of them should have already been in jail. Let me end, I think it's getting too late, by saying to all of you wonderful people, this oil law that they push down with truth will give them the authority to do what they want with it if you guys sit back and let them. Most importantly, Uncle and Auntie, the power and authority they have over that account enables them to indebt this country for generations to come. Nigeria leaders have their 200 million citizens, more than half living with $2 a day. Recently they were on their knees and their hands were wide open at the World Bank and the IMF begging for $8 billion US dollar loan for help them fight COVID. Malaysia, ex-prime minister was arrested. His wife, his stepchildren arrested for stealing the people's oil money, leaving Malaysia in over $11 billion debt after only 5 years of setting up the oil fund, that oil account, Uncle. $1 billion disappear to Saudi Arabia and they don't know how it meet there. In the case of Guyana, we minister can get jail for not telling us $1 billion sent to Lall account in Suriname. But he can get jail for sending the money in my account.
Wow.
May God bless all of you. And may God Almighty watch over your idle money to see whose name and account it going into. It's still 2022 and it's still the third day or the third night in Guyana. No drinking of vodka and coconut water until January month end. So I'll take my pressure tablet and call it a night. Is there any questions? I don't have the courage, the drive, the zeal to say Happy New Year. Sorry guys. Maybe some other time. We'll take the calls.
Before you open the line, any members of the panel would like to contribute?
Yes, go ahead. Yes.
Go ahead.
We talked a lot.
We may have put them to sleep.
Wow. They slept away on me?
Nah.
Yeah, they always sleep away on me, man.
No.
I have this this TikTok, and I want to do a TikTok every hour. I swear to God, every hour. But you guys are not listening to the TikTok, so I'm doing one a day only. Go ahead.
The government has indicated that they want to, when this law is passed, they want to withdraw the funds and put it into the budget. But according to the law that they just passed, they're supposed to be using this money for green economy initiatives. And in the event of a major natural disaster, then they can access the money and use it.
1 second. Hold 1 second right there with what you
Good.
said there. You see, every day these chap changes their mouth.
Yes.
They said the only money they're going to take out is when in the event of a natural disaster. And they said they will use the money on green projects, meaning solar, wind, and hydro electric. Now they're saying they're going to use the money for the budget. That's going to be another story with me and y'all. Yes, because they're going to say y'all need the money. All these years, year by year come, you guys will need that money. All of a sudden, they can put their hands on that money. They're going to tell you how, they're going to give you a house lot. How are you going to get proper drainage? Man, one thing for the last 30 years, you're going to hear back everything. I'll do a special program on this for y'all. But just watch the oil money. Watch the law, watch the oil money, and like I said, don't allow them to get away with it. No, don't. Go ahead. Go ahead, Bernard.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. Glenn, our leaders, the way they are behaving, as if they're quick to change the law, right? The oil law, the natural resource law, but they can't change the laws or change the contract to benefit the people. That 2% that we get in, the $6 million chump change we get in, they want to change it so that they could do what they want. but they don't want to change anything that benefits the Guyanese people. Why are our leaders like that, Glenn? I want to know which leaders in the world they want to emulate. Do they want to be like John F. Kennedy, like Winston
Should I
Churchill?
come?
The way I see it,
Should
they
I
want to
come?
idolize these third world leaders
Should I come?
that rape their countries. Right? Why would you want to be just a third world leader that sell out your country? Right? I mean, I don't get it. Don't they know that history will judge them very harshly? Everything you do nowadays goes out around the world. People can see and compare you to other leaders around the world, Glenn.
Bernard, you're asking me questions. I think over a year now I've been doing this program, and you've been a very intelligent man reading the newspapers for the last 20-something years. By now you ought to know, and you ought to be convinced that the leaders we have here, they are not decent folks. These are people who are ready to take your pants away if they can. You understand?
Yeah.
They're not people who any decent person expects to have. No. These are sheeps in wolf clothing we have. All of them. Yes.
A couple of years back, when the previous government had introduced this legislation, they received some recommendations from a couple of well-established institutions like the Natural Governance Resource Institute, and they had made some recommendations. Can you remember anything about that? The recommendations that the NRGI had? Some of them, I'll remind you, were to include clear penalties and punishments for misuse and mismanagement of the funds. That obviously hasn't happened in our case. What do you think that's an indication of?
My friend, anybody put in law to jail them own selves?
Yeah.
You know of any thief, man, any crook, scamp, putting laws in which they can find themselves behind bars? Come on, man. Come on. Guys,
Yes.
I gotta take an early night.
Yes, please.
I love you guys. It was a beautiful evening, and I want to wish you guys once again a happy and blessed Monday evening. God bless you.
Good night, everybody.